Welcome to the Deep Dive, your essential guide for mastering professional communication.
Hello?
If you're learning English for business, if you're, getting ready for that next big step in your career, or even if you just want that competitive edge that separates the good from the truly great, then this deep dive is absolutely for you.
It really is.
We're diving deep into the unspoken language of success, professional etiquette.
And that focus is just so critical. Because we're not talking about old-fashioned fussy rules. Not at all.
No, not at all.
We're talking about that next-level education that, is so rarely taught in business school or even in language classes.
Right.
And here's the big secret, really. It's the one thing that separates candidates and professionals at every single level. I mean, from a startup intern all the way to a Fortune 100 CEO.
And what is that?
Professional success is rooted in the practical application of good etiquette.
I think this is probably the most common blind spot for really driven, technically skilled people. We just assume success is about being the smartest person in the room.
Or having the best degree, the best code.
Exactly. But when you look at the data, that whole assumption just collapses.
It does. I mean, the research is so clear and powerful. There's a famous Harvard-Stanford study that concluded success in the workplace is based 85% on social skills.
85%.
85. Your ability to interact, connect, manage relationships. What we often call emotional quotient, or EQ.
So what about the other 15%?
Only 15% of success is from technical skills, your IQ.
That is it's a staggering number. It means you could be a genius coder, a brilliant architect, whatever. But if you don't know how to navigate these professional settings,
If you don't project competence and respect.
you're losing 85% of the battle before you even start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And etiquette, really at its core, is just the practical application of that high EQ. It determines how you enter a room, how you respond to criticism.
How you make others feel.
Yes. And ultimately, how likable and trustworthy you are. If we distill it all down beyond the fancy misconception, good etiquette just means being kind, respectful, and considerate to everyone.
And that's a universal protocol, isn't it?
It's completely universal. It doesn't matter if you're speaking your first language or mastering a second.
And since we are doing a deep dive, I do want to touch on the origin of the word itself. I find it really helpful to understand where it comes from.
Oh, it's great context. The word comes from the French term etiquette,
Etiquette.
which originally just meant a ticket or a label.
Like a price tag.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It was used in the 16th century courts in Europe, particularly Spain and France. It described the specific written protocols, the literal labels, detailing the exact behavior required for anyone appearing before the monarch.
So it was literally a written code, a rule book.
Yes, a rule book for respecting rank and power. Over time, that meaning shifted from the written ticket to the proper behavior itself, which is the definition we adopted in English.
And it remains the crucial protocol today.
It does.
Okay, so let's unpack this entire next level education. Mastering this is so vital for your professional success, especially if you're navigating high-stakes business in a new language. You need every advantage you can get.
You really do.
And since this knowledge is so fundamental, so key to giving you that competitive edge, please take a moment right now to share and subscribe so you never miss these deep dives into professional mastery.
All right, let's start with the foundation. Presence. There is just so much pressure on making a great first impression. How long do we actually have before someone forms a judgment that, well, that sticks?
The time frame is, it's brutally short. We're talking about milliseconds.
Seconds.
Some research suggests a judgment on facial trustworthiness can happen in a tenth of a second.
Wow.
More broadly, we often use the 7-second benchmark for a more, comprehensive impression. But the simple truth is, in those few seconds, trust is either built instantly or it's broken, maybe for good. And the hardest part of that, I think, is understanding how presentation can just completely override your credentials. The doctor-patient scenario from our source material is such a striking example.
It's a perfect psychological test. I mean, imagine you walk into a hospital. You see a person in perfectly pressed scrubs, clean, organized, standing tall. You instantly think, competent, authority. You trust them.
Right.
Now, imagine the exact same person, same qualifications, but they're hunched over, clothes are wrinkled, hair's a mess.
You'd hesitate immediately. You'd probably be asking for their ID, demanding a second opinion.
Of course you would. Even though you logically know they have the skills, that's the power of presentation.
Yeah.
In business, your appearance, your mannerisms, they're your spokesperson. They communicate respect for the client, the company, and for yourself.
If you don't respect your own presentation, why should I trust you with my $1 million deal?
Precisely.
What's so fascinating now, though, is that the first impression often isn't even physical anymore, is it?
That's a crucial modern adjustment. So often, the first impression is completely digital.
An email, a phone call.
Or, critically, your digital footprint, your social media. Data from a few years back showed that 70% of employers screen candidates using social media.
70%.
And here's the part that should really concern you. 57% of those employers found content that made them reject a candidate.
That's a huge liability.
Your professional brand lives online, whether you manage it or not.
Okay, so let's get into the actionable tips. If someone is serious about managing their professional brand, what's step one?
Step one, Google yourself right now and run a Google image search. You have to know what a potential employer or client sees. Be ruthless, clean it up.
And step two, for true mastery.
Set a Google alert for your name. This way you're proactively notified anytime you're mentioned online. You are a brand. You have to monitor your presence.
That's excellent advice. Now, let's say you've passed the digital screen and we're moving into that crucial in-person meeting. I want to spend some time on the 7 and 7 theory. The 7 things you can control in those first 7 seconds.
Right, these are your immediate tools for projecting confidence.
First up, we have physical placement.
This is all about your entry, how you occupy the space. You want to avoid movements that look, timid or uncertain.
Like fumbling with the door.
Exactly. When you enter a meeting room, don't turn your back on the people already seated. Position yourself to close the door with your left hand so your right hand is immediately free to greet and shake hands. It's a small detail, but it shows you're ready.
Okay. Number 2 is facial control.
A neutral face can look negative or even aggressive, even if you don't mean it to. Psychology shows just a slight positive change in your expression, even just a hint of a smile, open eyes. It instantly signals approachability.
It's an invitation to connect.
Yes.
Then the one we talk about a lot, personal presentation.
This is the visual shorthand for respect. Dress the way you want to be addressed. It's a powerful, silent indicator of your professionalism.
4th is posture. This one is huge for me.
It's immediate nonverbal language. Slouching, hunching over. It instantly reads as insecure. Powerful posture, shoulders back, chin level, is an instant signal of confidence.
5th element, voice. This is where so many talented people undermine themselves.
It's true. Your voice has to align with your visuals. You can wear the most expensive suit, but if your voice is high-pitched or trails off at the end of sentences,
You're losing all your authority.
you are. Your voice has to be strong, clear, and assertive.
Followed by body language as a whole.
This covers everything else, how you use your hands, how you sit, how you stand, or your hands open, or your shoulders square.
And finally, the 7th element, charisma.
Charisma is that magnetic energy. And it's so important to remember this is a learned trait, not something you're born with. It's the ability to evoke a positive emotional response in others.
When people feel good around you, they want to spend more time with you.
And that's fundamentally what professionalism is about, building positive relationships.
That entire package leads us right to the most crucial physical greeting. The handshake. You call this our physical signature.
It is the single most important moment of physical connection in the business world. It instantly communicates confidence and trust. If you think about it, the handshake started in ancient Greece as a gesture of peace to show you were unarmed.
And that idea of trust is still there.
It's absolutely central.
The story about the financial sales firm hiring committee illustrates this perfectly.
It does. This firm had a stack of technically qualified candidates, but they did this quick meet and greet before the formal interviews. And the committee realized they were unconsciously weeding people out, based almost solely on a poor handshake.
A weak handshake.
A weak handshake, a wet fish handshake. It was a visceral, instant reaction.
And then there was the star candidate who swayed them.
Yes, he was good on paper, but not the front runner. But when he met the committee, his handshake was unwavering, firm. He had a genuine smile, consistent eye contact. The HR director later admitted she cast her tie-breaking vote for him simply because he made her feel safe.
Wow.
That physical signature projected reliability and strength, and he went on to be incredibly successful there.
So let's drill down on the essential rules for a great business handshake so our listeners can replicate that feeling.
Okay, first, always use your right hand. Second, always stand up. Shaking hands while seated is a major sign of disrespect.
It implies you don't value the person enough to rise.
Precisely. Third, you want to approach at about a 30-degree angle and make sure the web of your hand meets the web of their hand, web to web.
That gives you the best contact. What about the grip itself?
Avoid the soft grip at all costs. The squeeze has to be firm, assertive, but never crushing. It communicates energy.
And the rhythm, the pumps.
In a business context, it's 2 pumps. Quick, professional, to the point. Socially, you might do 3, but business is about efficiency.
And the most critical rule of all.
Maintain unwavering eye contact the entire time. If you shake my hand while looking over my shoulder, I know you're already looking for the next, more important person.
Okay, moving beyond the handshake. How do we handle formal introductions? The old gender-based rules are mostly gone, so who do we introduce to whom?
The modern code is all about rank and importance, not gender. You just have to ask yourself, who do I want to show respect to first? The protocol is to introduce the junior person to the senior person.
So you name the senior person first.
You name the most important person first, then the next most important, or the most senior in age. Only if rank and age are equal do you default to the old gender rules.
That simplifies things a lot. The junior person is presented to the senior person?
Exactly. And the formula you use for the introduction really matters. We need to avoid just, this is Alex, Alex meet Sarah.
Because it leaves them stranded.
It does. The formal formula provides a bridge for conversation. You should use the full formula. May I please introduce you to? And then, crucially, you follow up with a small detail about each person.
To help them start talking.
Right. So, Sarah, may I please introduce you to Alex, who just flew in from our Berlin office. Alex, Sarah is our director of sales. Now they have an immediate connection.
The Berlin office, the sales division. Got it. This focus on rank is summarized in what you call the elevator rules of business etiquette.
These rules govern all those little logistical interactions. Rank dictates everything. Who pays, who orders, and who holds the door. The junior person always holds the door for the senior person.
And what about something like a revolving door?
Even there, the details matter. The host or the senior person should be the one to push the door, taking the brunt of the work. It's a small, physical signal of respect.
All right, this next segment is all about projecting power. And I want to start by revisiting that incredible story of candidate A versus candidate B, because it perfectly illustrates why presence can be 85% of the battle.
Right. This is the classic story of competence versus presence. A large company was stuck between 2 highly qualified candidates. So they asked both to deliver a mock presentation.
Okay.
Candidate B, on paper, had the superior strategy, more detailed financials, stronger background, everything.
But then there was candidate A.
Candidate A delivered a presentation that was, maybe a little less strategic, a bit riskier. However, they delivered it with absolute power, authority, and confidence.
How so?
They started with a quick, disarming joke that put everyone at ease. Their posture was impeccable, their voice was strong, and they projected just utter certainty.
And the result?
The committee, made up of senior leaders, unanimously voted for candidate A.
Unanimously?
They weren't voting for the best strategy.
Right.
They were voting for the person they wanted to work with, the person who made them feel confident.
That is incredible. And what's the final twist in that story?
The ultimate irony is that candidate A declined the offer, took another job, and the company refused to hire candidate B because after seeing A's presence, they just couldn't hire someone with less authority for that role.
Presence wins, time and time again. This is so motivating for our listeners, especially those working hard to master a new professional language, because it means confidence isn't innate, it's learned.
Absolutely. Confidence is situational, it's controllable. Unlike self-esteem, which is deeply rooted, confidence is something we can learn to switch on when we walk into a meeting.
Let's break down the learnable skills in the Meyer method for confidence.
Okay, we start with package yourself. This is comprehensive. It's not just your suit, it's the quality of your watch, the organization of your bag.
Even the pen you carry.
Even the pen. Everything reflects your professional standards.
Second, use your voice.
We covered this, but it's worth repeating. Powerful, not loud. Clear projection, even pace, and no trailing off at the end of sentences.
Third is build rapport.
The more comfortable you are with people, the less anxiety you feel, and the more confident you'll appear. Actively find common ground.
Fourth, understand what sparks you.
This is critical. Identify the situations that cause you anxiety. Is it cold calls? Public speaking? Once you know the spark, you can practice specifically in those areas.
Fifth, organize yourself.
Disorganization breeds anxiety. When you walk into a presentation knowing your materials are perfectly ready, you just naturally feel more confident.
Okay, and number 6.
Emulate others. Find confident people whose style you admire and consciously replicate small aspects of their posture or their speaking style.
And the seventh, the most important one, practice. It's not fake it till you make it.
No, it's practice it till you become it. You have to learn how to activate that power on demand, and that's essential for projecting authority.
Authority in this context, it's about being decisive, right?
Yes, it's using a strong voice, powerful body language, and decisive language. Don't just say, I agree with Sarah. Say, I agree with Sarah, and based on the Q4 data, I think we should execute strategy X.
So you add value. You use facts, statistics, stories.
Yes, you talk more, but only when it's relevant.
And what's the biggest hurdle to projecting authority?
Getting rid of fear. Authority cannot coexist with fear. If the fear of rejection or failure stops you from speaking up in a meeting or negotiating a better deal, you're giving up your authority. You have to practice acting despite the fear.
Now let's talk about charisma. It can feel so intangible, but you argue it's definable.
It is. Charisma is just charm applied professionally. The goal is simple. Evoke a positive emotion in someone else. People remember how you made them feel, far more than what you said.
So how do we cultivate it?
Maintain a positive attitude. Nobody wants to work with a perpetually negative person. And create a likable persona-friendly, sincere, happy, stand out humbly. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
And when you succeed, how do you handle the credit?
Modestly. If you're complimented, accept it gracefully, but then quickly pivot to acknowledge your team. Say, thank you. I couldn't have done it without the logistics team. It shows humility.
Okay, now let's turn to eliminating vocabulary weaknesses. This is so critical for professionals seeking fluency in business English. These subtle phrases can really undermine your image. Let's start with the overuse of sorry.
So many people, especially those learning English, overuse sorry out of politeness.
Right. They apologize for interrupting, for asking a question.
And it diminishes the power of the word for when a real apology is needed. And it signals a subordinate mindset.
We also need to get rid of those submissive phrases.
Yes. Stop. Can I ask a quick question?
Or do you have a moment?
Exactly. When you ask for permission, you're signaling you think your question isn't worthy of their time. Instead, just state your intention. I'd like to clarify point 3.
The word just is a huge offender. Can you give us some examples of how it damages a statement?
It just minimizes everything. If you say, I just need a minute, you're implying you're begging for a small favor. If you say, it's just a simple task, you minimize the importance of the work.
So you just remove it and say, I need a minute.
Yes. Your requests instantly gain weight and importance.
And what about undermining your own honesty?
Avoid phrases like, to be honest with you. It immediately makes the listener wonder, were you being dishonest with me 5 minutes ago?
Your default mode has to be integrity.
Right. And what if a boss gives you a huge new task when you're already swamped? You don't say, I can't.
So what do you say?
This is a diplomacy test. You show enthusiasm. I'd be happy to tackle that. Then you shift the prioritization back to them. Given I'm currently on Project X and Project Y, how would you like me to prioritize these 3 tasks?
That's brilliant. It shows you're willing and capable, but you need strategic direction.
Exactly.
Finally, the power of poise. If a client or a boss is raising their voice at you, what's the professional response?
The worst thing you can do is raise your voice back. Fighting fire with fire just escalates everything.
It makes you look out of control.
It does. Instead, you maintain complete poise, you slow your speech, and you reply with a firm, assertive, but level tone. It disarms the aggression.
When you enter a professional environment, every single action is being observed. Let's start with a really basic courtesy. Should you accept an offer of water?
Yes, absolutely. Always say yes to water.
Why is that?
Well, there are a few reasons. First, it gives both you and the host a moment to just relax and acclimate before you dive into high-stakes topics. Second, if you get nervous, water is a huge physiological help. It keeps your mouth from getting dry so you can speak clearly.
It's a physical tool for composure. That's a great way to think about it. But we should be careful about asking for other things.
I'd advise against asking for coffee or tea. Preparing those can take time, and you don't want to put the host or their assistant out. Water is simple and unobtrusive.
Okay, so if you are visiting another office, what's the critical code of conduct there?
You are a guest representing your company, and you're being assessed. So keep your phone out of sight. Never bring your own coffee or drink in with you.
Why not?
Because you create unnecessary waste. Carrying in a disposable cup and leaving it behind makes you look a bit unprepared and inconsiderate.
And the most critical rule, which reinforces all of this, is that you are being observed at all times. This brings us to the famous anecdote about the elevator lobby rule.
This story is the perfect professional morality lesson. I was having coffee with colleagues before giving an etiquette presentation, and next to us were two young men dressed impeccably, expensive suits, the whole thing.
Looking the part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they were talking extremely loudly, using highly explicit language, and gossiping in great detail about their colleagues. They were completely oblivious.
And you recognize them later.
Yes. We ended up in the same elevator going up to the presentation floor, and they immediately became perfect gentlemen. Quiet, polite. They clearly thought they were at work now. I realized they were attendees for the very presentation I was about to give.
Oh, no. So when you started.
I started with a humorous but pointed story. I never named them, but I walked the room through the sequence. The loud, unprofessional conversation in the coffee shop, the gossip, the sudden silence in the elevator. The whole room understood the moral. But the expressions on those two young men were just pure panic.
The takeaway for our listeners is you never know who is listening or watching.
Absolutely. The boss's spouse, a new client. They could be in the lobby, the restroom, anywhere. Professionalism has to be constant.
This constant observation just reinforces the importance of nonverbal impact. We have to keep that rule in mind. Only 7% of communication is verbal, 38% is vocal, and a massive 55% is nonverbal.
And mastering that 55% includes reading emotional cues. If you're giving a presentation, you need a simple framework to gauge your audience.
What's the technique?
Watch the eyes and mouth together. They tell the complete story.
So if I'm speaking and I see a face that's skeptical, what does that look like?
A skeptical or unsure face is critical to spy. It's usually eyes pinched and mouth pinched, or sometimes eyes open and mouth pinched. The pinched mouth means they're holding something back, questioning you. If you see that, change strategy, fast.
And if they're engaged?
Interested or engaged is generally eyes open and mouth open, which is receptive. Or eyes pinched and mouth open, which often means they're really thinking about and digesting what you just said. A simple head nod is also a great sign.
Let's move to confrontation rules in diplomacy. How do we address issues professionally?
First rule, address issues up front and politely. Don't let frustrations fester until they explode. And when you do, bring a suggested solution with you. Don't just present a problem.
And the second rule for written communication. Think before you write.
Never, ever write an angry email and send it immediately. Draft it, walk away, cool down, and then reread it. An angry email is permanent. It's a digital tattoo.
We should also avoid passive-aggressive behavior.
It rarely works. Avoid sarcastic tones or dismissive phrases like fine or I don't care when your body language is screaming that you're upset. Be direct and polite.
Moving on to cross-cultural etiquette. You have to follow the rules of the country you're in.
Without exception, this requires homework. Incorrect etiquette can absolutely break a business deal.
And our source material noted we can practice this at home, treating ethnic restaurants like mini-embassies.
It's a great way to show respect. If you're at a Japanese restaurant, try to use the chopsticks. If there's a specific serving protocol, follow it. It shows genuine respect.
Okay, let's wrap this segment with high-stakes email rules. Let's start with BCC. When is it okay to use it?
BCC has one main professional purpose: taking an introducer off a long email thread. If Sarah introduces you to a client, Alex, you reply to Alex, thanks Sarah, and move her to BCC. This frees her from all future emails.
What about tone and capitalization?
Avoid all sci-PS, it's shouting. Be careful with exclamation marks, one is usually enough. And make sure your funnel names are professional, not picture 001, but 2024 Q3 marketing plan.pdf.
And the cardinal rule about forwarding?
Always ask permission before forwarding someone's email. That message was written for you, based on your relationship. It might contain informal or sensitive communication. Forwarding it without permission is a serious breach of trust.
Appearance is still a core part of projecting confidence. So let's do a quick but detailed recap of the 4 main dress codes, because knowing the difference is vital.
Okay. Corporate is the most formal. Dark suit, tie for men, covered shoulders, conservative shoes. It signals the highest level of respect. Business professional is a bit more relaxed. A blazer, slacks, or a dress. And a tie is often optional.
And then we step down to business casual.
Business casual allows for more flexibility, less formal dresses, chinos. But still, no ripped clothing, no athletic wear. And casual, which many people confuse with weekend wear, still demands respect. Always a collared shirt or a blouse, usually tucked in.
What are the universal style mistakes to avoid, no matter the dress code?
Avoid showing too much skin. No flip-flops in a business office. Avoid ill-fitting or too tight clothing, big flashy logos, and the cardinal sin, mismatched leathers.
Brown belt with black shoes.
Never. Match your leathers perfectly.
Now for the small grooming details that have a huge impact. Let's start with hair and scent.
Hair must be clean, well-groomed, and kept out of your face. For fragrance, I advise against wearing any strong scent in a business setting. What you love might be distracting or irritating to a client.
And though it sounds basic, we have to talk about deodorant.
It's essential. Body odor is a major distraction that should never be left for HR to deal with. It signals a lack of care.
What about hands and mouth?
Nails are judged constantly. A manicure is gender neutral. Nails must be clean and neat. For breath, always carry breath strips. Gum or mints can be noisy and unprofessional during a meeting.
You also mentioned that everything we carry is judged. What are the key carried items that might need an immediate upgrade?
Your accessories are extensions of a professional self. Replace old, beat-up spiral notebooks, chewed pens, cracked cell phone cases. Make sure your briefcase and business card holder are high quality.
Let's shift to interview logistics. What's the standard for the resume and arrival time?
Your resume should ideally be one page. Always bring several printed copies, a professional notebook, and a working pen. For arrival, aim for 5 to 10 minutes early. Arriving too early can make the host feel rushed.
And the first person you meet is often the receptionist.
Yes. Always greet them politely and respectfully. They are often asked for their impression of candidates. Treating them poorly is a huge strike against you.
After the interview, the follow-up. We know the handwritten thank you note stands out. What's the hack for writing a really strong, memorable one?
The hack is to beat the skim read. Never start a thank you note with the words thank you,
Really? Why not?
because the recipient will often just glance at it and put it aside. Instead, you start with an active, specific phrase like, I enjoyed or I appreciated.
Can you give an example?
Instead of thank you for the interview, start with, I greatly enjoyed our discussion about the challenges facing the Q3 product launch. Then later in the note, you can include the actual thank you. It forces them to pause and absorb the specific content.
That's a great tip. Finally, how do we handle impromptu speaking, like giving toasts or speeches?
Use the structured past, present, future formula. It's short, professional, and it works for any occasion.
Let's do a quick example. A holiday dinner celebrating a milestone.
Okay. You start with the past. I want to thank the team for 3 years of tireless work that led us to this moment. Then, the present. We are delighted to be here today celebrating a successful year. And finally, the future. I raise my glass to many more successful years to come.
And the logistics.
For a small group, you can stay seated. For multiple tables, stand up so your voice projects. And you have to end the toast by raising your glass and naming the recipient. To David. This prompts everyone else to echo the name and raise their glasses.
Okay, dining is arguably the most intimidating professional setting. The number of rules can just overwhelm you. Let's start with cutlery, specifically. The continental style.
Right. The continental style is standard in formal business dining. You have to master the IWT method. Index, wrap, twist. The fork stays in your left hand, prongs down. Knife stays in your right. Your index fingers apply pressure.
And you don't switch hands after cutting.
You never switch hands.
Where do our hands rest when we aren't actively eating?
In American and British dining, hands rest in your lap. In much of the rest of the Western world, though, wrists are expected to rest lightly on the edge of the table. Best to follow the lead of your host.
Now, the terrifying moment of seeing all the forks and spoons, how do we navigate the place setting?
Use the BMW acronym. It's a spatial trick. Bread is on your left, meal is in the center. Water and wine are on your right.
Bread, meal, water, BMW. Got it.
And the cutlery.
Use it from the outside in. The fork farthest from the plate is for the first course, and so on.
Let's review the rules for polite eating. This requires slowing down. Rule 1. Cut only one piece of food at a time. Cut it, eat it. Don't saw your whole steak into little pieces at once. Rule 2. You can mix only 2 foods on the fork protein and a vegetable, for instance. 3 looks messy.
And what about noise?
Lips stay zipped while chewing. Breathe through your nose. And a huge one that people forget. Never chew ice. It's a harsh, unprofessional sound.
How about hot soup and bread?
Soup is the only food we scoop away from us. If it's too hot, cool it by stirring in a crescent moon shape. Never blow on it. For bread, never cut a roll with a knife. You tear off one bite-sized piece, butter that piece, and eat it.
And finally, who pays? And what about tipping?
The host always pays. Arguing over the bill is poor etiquette. For tipping in America, 15 to 20% on the total, excluding tax. And this is vital. Doggy bags are not appropriate in business dining.
Leave the food behind. Okay, let's move to networking, the art of starting and ending conversations smoothly.
First, don't start with, "So what do you do?" It sounds opportunistic. Start with a friendly general introduction. "Hello, I'm your name. What brings you here tonight?" Second, move constantly. Don't stick to one spot. And look for open circles and groups.
If we get stuck in a conversation, we can use the WWHC method to keep it alive.
Exactly. What, why, how, and compliment. These are open-ended questions that need more than a yes or no. Instead of, "Did you like the presentation?" Ask, "What did you think of the presentation?"
We also have some body language hacks for projecting different intentions.
Yes. If you want to seem more likable and engaged, look into the person's left eye. Psychologically, this makes you lean in slightly. To seem more assertive, look into their right eye. This encourages you to square your shoulders.
What if we encounter the dreaded close talker? The person who stands uncomfortably close.
We use the tango technique. You have to defend your space without being rude. Plant one foot firmly and then gently step your other foot slightly behind you. This creates a subtle, invisible line of defense, forcing them to adjust without you having to recoil.
That's a great technique for maintaining composure. Finally, let's talk about holiday parties and business travel.
Office parties are still work events. Never be the last person to leave. Know your alcohol limit and never hit it. And if you see a colleague who is drunk, help them. Get them water, arrange a safe ride home.
And for business travel, the key word is business.
You are representing the company from the moment you leave your home. Don't gossip or overshare. And when you're managing expenses, be strict about what's approved. Flight, hotel, work meals, and what's not, like souvenirs or spa services. Navigating this vast landscape of professional etiquette, it can feel really overwhelming, especially when you're working so hard to master professional communication in English.
It's a lot to remember.
It is. But I want to offer some genuine empathy and motivation here. Every single skill we discussed today is learned. No one is born knowing the IWT method or the two-pump rule. Internalizing these rules gives you a powerful, polished identity that is entirely within your control. You have the power to control your confidence and charisma starting today.
That is the perfect encouragement. So to recap the ultimate keys to professional mastery, remember that 85% social skills, rule EQ, beats IQ. Use the power of the handshake as your physical signature of trust. Eliminate those undermining words like just and sorry from your professional vocabulary to project strength.
So important.
And actively curate and monitor your professional digital presence. If this deep dive has given you a clearer path to professional success and that crucial competitive edge, please share and subscribe to continue building your next level education.
And here's a final provocative thought for you to chew on this week. A specific challenge to put this knowledge into action.
Okay.
If confidence is learned and controlled, and getting rid of fear is central to projecting authority, what is the one single fear in a presentation, in networking, or in a negotiation that you will practice eliminating this week to become the polished, successful professional you truly want to be?